Before we dive deep into the financials and the defensive dominance we are seeing, I need everyone watching to smash that like button right now to get this news out to more fans. And I want to know exactly where the Bird Gang is tuned in from today. Drop your name and your city in the comments section below. I want to see if we can get representation from all 50 states and across the globe. Let's see how far this fan base reaches. Now, let's get right into the situation developing on the edge. I have been tracking the trajectory of the Eagles' defensive front closely since the trade deadline, and sources around the league are buzzing about a specific development that is both a blessing and a potential headache for Philadelphia's front office. When Howie Roseman pulled the trigger to acquire edge rusher Jaelan Phillips from the Miami Dolphins for a third-round pick just 24 hours before the deadline, the narrative was simple. This is a rental. It was a low-risk, high-reward move to bolster a depleted unit. However, the performance we have seen on the field has shifted the conversation entirely. We are no longer looking at a stopgap solution. We are looking at a player who is fundamentally altering the DNA of this defense, and consequently, his price tag is skyrocketing by the week. According to recent reports and analysis from NFL insider Bucky Brooks, Phillips has landed firmly on the list of the top free agents poised to break the bank in 2026. This isn't just speculation. It is based on the undeniable impact he has had since reuniting with defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Remember, Fangio was with Phillips in Miami in 2023, and that familiarity has allowed Phillips to bypass the usual acclimation period. He didn't need to learn the language of the defense. He already spoke it fluently. That seamless transition is rare for mid-season acquisitions, and it is the primary reason why Phillips is generating such massive leverage ahead of free agency. The data surrounding Phillips' arrival is staggering. I've been crunching the numbers, and the split between the pre-Phillips defense and the current unit is night and day. Before his arrival, from weeks 1 through 9, the Eagles were sitting at 19th in the league in points allowed per game and 16th in yards allowed per play. Those are mediocre numbers that do not typically correlate with deep playoff runs. Since Phillips stepped onto the field in Week 10, those rankings have vaulted to 1st in points allowed and 7th in yards allowed. You simply do not see statistical jumps of that magnitude based on one player, unless that player is performing at an elite game-wrecking level. Context is critical here because Phillips didn't just walk into a healthy situation. He was brought in as a lifeline. We have seen former first-round pick Nolan Smith land on injured reserve, and we have been navigating the last 3 games without the interior dominance of All-Pro Jalen Carter due to shoulder surgeries. In a typical scenario, losing pieces like Smith and Carter would cause a defensive line to collapse. Instead, Phillips has anchored the unit. He's setting the edge against the run, a critical aspect of Fangio's scheme, and providing the disruptive pass rush that was sorely missing. He has stabilized a group that was teetering on the brink of disaster, proving he can be the focal point of a front seven, not just a complementary piece. However, this elite performance brings us to the complicated history that defines Phillips' career and will complicate the negotiations to come. We have to acknowledge the medicals. Phillips medically retired from football back in 2018 at UCLA due to injuries before resurrecting his career at Miami. His NFL tenure has been marred by devastating setbacks, including a torn Achilles in 2023 and an ACL tear earlier this season with the Titans before his return. This is a player with a significant injury history who is currently playing some of the best football of his life. It is a classic prove-it scenario that has gone almost too well. He has shown he is healthy, explosive, and capable of dominating, which means the discount Philadelphia might have hoped for is evaporating. From what I am hearing, Phillips is acutely aware of the opportunity in front of him. He has been vocal about his excitement to play for a true contender, something he hasn't experienced in his career thus far. The Eagles are sitting at 9-5, preparing for a massive clash with the Washington Commanders, and Phillips is eyeing his first ever division title. He has noted that the defense is getting more comfortable with each other every week, which is a scary thought for opposing offenses. But comfort on the field leads to demands at the negotiating table. High-quality edge rushers who can play the run and the pass are the second most expensive commodity in the NFL behind quarterbacks. If Phillips continues this pace through the playoffs, he will command top-tier money on the open market. This puts the Eagles in a fascinating strategic position. If they win the Super Bowl, the third-round pick and the subsequent departure of Phillips in free agency will be viewed as a masterstroke, a worthy sacrifice for a ring. But if they fall short, and Phillips walks for a massive payday elsewhere, they will have to rely on the compensatory pick formula to recoup value. The chemistry he has built with Fangio suggests there is mutual interest in a long-term marriage, but Howie Roseman is notorious for setting a price and sticking to it. He rarely overpays for players with extensive injury histories, regardless of their current form. We are watching a high-stakes game of poker play out in real time on the defensive line. The immediate focus, of course, is Washington. Phillips has made it clear he is hungry for that NFC East crown, but in the background, his agent is likely looking at the tape and seeing dollar signs. This isn't just a rental anymore. This is an audition for a blockbuster contract, whether it comes from Philadelphia or a team desperate for pass rush help. The synergy between Fangio and Phillips is the X factor that could drive the Eagles to open the checkbook, but only if the medical staff signs off on the long-term durability. It is going to be a fascinating offseason, but first they have to finish the job this season. I want to hear from you guys on this strategy.
Given Jalen Phillips' injury history, but considering his undeniable impact on turning this defense into the #1 unit in points allowed, should the Eagles break the bank to keep him long-term, or do you let him walk and take the compensatory pick? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.